Alright, the story of Babel. So essentially, let's do a brief overview. The story of Babel is about people coming together after the flood of Noah and building this great city, right? So they build this great city and they build this great tower, the Tower of Babel, to try to reach God, or as a welcome mat to God. God comes down from the heavens and he sees this. And he is very displeased with the city and what they've done. So then he disperses the people and changes the languages. So first off, let's talk about what God wanted for the people. God wanted the people to be fruitful and multiply. He wanted the structure of family to be the foundation of every city or town or what have you. So that was God's goal. But when a city comes together, what tends to happen is the family gets decentralized. The family is no longer a priority. Look at today's small towns. Usually the family is the central unit. But when you look into the big cities, the family is taken out and it's about sex, drugs, alcohol, pleasure, art, all of those kinds of things. And so think of New York. So think of Babel and the city of Babel as New York City. So this is the first time that they've made a city like this since the time that Noah's flood. So they essentially put out this welcome mat, this tower to heaven for God, and they're trying to redefine God by saying, okay, God is not omniscient or whatever it's called. He is more like us. He has needs. He has desires. He has wants. And the implications of that are devastating to any true God-worshiping religion, the God of Abraham. And the reason why that is because if we take God off of his pedestal and move him closer to us, then that means that he is corruptible. And if God is corruptible, then that means man can corrupt God. And so it wasn't so much the idea that they came together in a city and they built this tower. He could care less about the tower. What he was really worried about was the city's idea of what was good and what was God. They were literally building a giant false idol to a God that didn't exist. And they tried to put a new definition on the Abrahamic God. They said, well, this is what we think God should be, so this is the definition we're going to try to push on the Abrahamic God. And so that's what God got upset about, and that's what infuriated him. And so that's why he separated all the peoples, and he changed all their languages, and the whole Babel, because people were babbling and they couldn't understand each other. The main goal, therefore, the people was to be able to be selfish, greedy, grant themselves instant desires, not be held accountable, not have to do what was good or what was right. It was, we need to change the definition of God so we can do what we want and we don't have to feel bad about it. And that infuriated God, because God is the same today as he is tomorrow, as he was yesterday, and he is never changing. And so that's what happened in the story of Babel. And while God knew that these great metropolitan cities were to come, remember, he just flooded the whole entire world because this is what happened time and time again. And so right after he wipes the slate clean, boom, what do you get? You get another big metropolitan city, and what are they doing? They're trying to change the definition of God. They're trying to move away from what God truly is. And they're trying to do things by man's idea, by man's law, by man's definition of what is good and evil. Because God has always been the main definer of what is good and evil. And if man takes over that role from God, then we know the adversary will take over, and what is known as good will now be bad, and what was known as bad